Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back to the Eden Wellness Alliance's State of the Association address. This Thursday, the 2nd of November. That's right, it is already the 2nd of November. Oh well, time goes on, and it's supposed to go on, so let it go on. Let me see. We're going to do our announcements as we usually do. So first off, you can still come to the CRNs. They are every Tuesday, 8 a.m. at the Sweet Bay Coffee, and we meet there to just talk and get to know each other as local businesses and local business owners. So there you go. Now, for info on things coming up. So we have something this weekend. I think they're calling it the Merry Market at the First Assembly of God in Greenwood. It's a First Assembly of God to benefit the food pantry there. November 4th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., 725 Park Drive in Greenwood. Spirit 106 is supposed to be out there in the morning. So will the drone group from Greenwood and technology students helping people with their smart devices. Okay, so if you got questions about your smart devices, they'll have full concessions, vendors. Setup for vendors is at 8, so you guys won't get in until 10, but setup for vendors is at 8. And we're going to have our massage chair out there for someone that wants a chair massage. Let me see. We'll also be talking about the oils. Also that day, Witcherville Fall Festival happens from 1 to 7 p.m., so you could go to one and then go to the other afterwards. You can visit booth 2 to learn more about the doTERRA essential oils. I think that one's going to be that booth is going to be headed up by Melanie, if you want to talk to her. And she should be on the basketball court is where booth 2 is supposed to be, is what I'm seeing. All right. Those are the announcements for this coming weekend. Let me see if there's anything else. Daylight savings time starts Sunday, the 5th, for people that need to remember that. Also, Veterans Day is 10th/11th, so I think it's on the 11th, but is observed on the 10th, or on the 10th and observed on the 11th, or something like that. It's observed on the 10th. Okay, so Veterans Day will be observed on the 10th next week for those that will affect. Thanksgiving is, of course, coming up on the 23rd, so yes, there is that. I don't think we're going to have any events between now and then. We may have, I know we'll have events in December, because there's the annual event and the CRN annual event. So there's those things. But other than that, those things we will address when they come up. Now we can get into our subject for today, which is 10 morning routine habits of successful people. And we're going to look at that. It is a video from the Practical Psychology, I believe is what it was. And it's a YouTube channel that I found. I haven't watched this particular video yet, so it's a fresh reaction from me with you guys. But we have watched some of their videos, and they've been pretty informative. Informative enough for me to subscribe to them and see what they come out with. So, let's go ahead and watch this video, shall we? Just a moment. I see that my audio is not coming through, so let me go... it's probably trying to work through voice meter. Let me go through speakers and see if that starts it up for you guys.
Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be talking about morning habits of successful people. Now, it's important to realize that by implementing these habits into your life, you will not become automatically successful, but if we look at successful people and we model what they do, we have a higher chance of ourselves becoming successful like them. So on to the first one. The first one is that successful people, in the morning, they make a to-do list. Now, to-do lists are really important because if you don't have a goal of what you're going to do that day, you're going to go through the day pointless and aimlessly, and you're not going to get done things that you might actually accomplish if you were to do a to-do list. Now, the important thing is on a to do list, they need to be actionable things. So you can't be like, I am going to work on a website. See, that's not a good to do list. You need something like, I'm going to implement a new page and write 1,000 words of content, or I'm going to mow the lawn by 3 o'clock. And we'll talk about this in a little bit about how to set goals better on habits. But tip number 2 is
Okay, before he goes to tip number 2, yeah, having actionable list is good. And it'll depend on the person a bit, but having a to-do list or things that are to do and knowing them, and I don't mean like a honey-do list where someone else is filling that up for you, or you're filling it up for yourself and you know you've got to do these things. You actually take those things off the list and they are on your stuff to do today. You do them today. That makes a big difference. Sometimes people find more benefit by having it scheduled onto a calendar, not just having a to-do list, but having the things on that list put onto the calendar and allotted a time. Some people have more benefit on that. So he may address that in a little bit, but that's my 2 cents on it, because that actually works better for me, is scheduling a time. Like saying, this is what I'm doing from this point to this point. That usually works better for me.
that when they wake up, they do something to energize themselves. So this could be anything from going for a run to get your heart rate up. You could drink coffee if you want to do it in a less natural, inner motivated way. Or you could also take something like a cold shower. I mean, if you get in there and you turn the shower on, boom, it's going to hit you and you're going to take a couple deep breaths. Your blood's going to start flowing to all of your inner organs. That is a great way to wake you up. Now, tip number 3 is that they schedule.
Okay. Tip number 2 went by pretty fast. Tip number 2, energize themselves in the morning. That is something that is important. I recommend stretching or something like that. Like he said, that whole coffee thing, that is a non-self-motivated item. You're not making yourself drink that coffee. You want to drink that coffee. And coffee is a stimulant. That's all it is. We drink it because it stimulates us. There's no health reason to drink that coffee per se, because the fuzzy research on it is that unless you're drinking special types of coffee, just regular old coffee is not going to give you the benefits that they say it promotes. That's actually you getting up and doing stuff is mainly what gives you those benefits. You're getting up, you're doing things. So there's a bit of there. I will say that don't ever drink something that's decaffeinated. Even if it's coffee or something with high caffeine in it, don't drink something that's decaf. Because the stuff they have to do to that item to get it to become decaf is worse on you than just drinking the regular old caffeine. In different ways, but it is. So there is that.
Schedule their day. So it's not only good enough to create a to-do list, you also want to have a schedule of when you will complete certain things on the to-do list by. So you might have to cut the lawn, you might have to create a video, and you might have to cook dinner. Now, you can have all these 3 things on there, and it'll feel great when you check each one of those off. But what else is wonderful that successful people do that they turn into a habit is that they say, I will cut the lawn by 10 in the morning, I will create a YouTube by 1 in the afternoon, and I will fix dinner by 6 tonight. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is
to create a schedule. That's going the creating of a schedule. I guess it kind of goes back to what I was saying. The to-do list is nice. I think that's double work, personally. If you're going to make a to-do list and then put it on your schedule, just put it on your schedule instead of making the to-do list. That's how I do it. I cut out that middle portion there of making the to-do list. Now, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I will say, these are some things I need to get done. But when I'm doing that, I'm actually sitting down and saying, what are things I need to get done? And then I'm putting them on the schedule to get them done. I'm not keeping that list. I'm scheduling the things on that list, and they're getting done. And then that's it. They don't cloud your mind after that. They're on the schedule. You know when they're about to come up. You can look at your schedule and see it's done, and that helps me keep brain clutter out of there because I've already done it. I've already scheduled it. It's no worries. I think I know what this next one is, wake up early, but we'll discuss that in a minute.
To wake up early. Now, there's a lot of people who are really successful who sleep in until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But what I have noticed, a lot of people who are just not successful, but are extremely successful, people like Sam Walton, who built a huge business, people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and people like Aaron from Alpha M, one thing they do is they wake up early. I mean early. Like some people wake up at 6 and that's early, but if you get up at 5, that gives you another hour to beat them. That gives you an extra hour of your day to get more done. Now, it's also important to get enough sleep, and I'll talk about that in another video. But right now, we're going to move on.
Okay, so waking up early does make a difference. I'm one of those people that if I wake up at 7, I've slept in. I try to wake up at 5. That's when my alarm is set. Now, to be fair, I don't always get up at 5. But my alarm is set for 5, and so I usually attempt to get up at 5. That is my intention, is to get up at 5, assuming that I got to bed at my appropriate time, which, like you said, sleep is incredibly important. You want to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Allot yourself, anyway, 6 to 8 hours of sleep. One day this week, I woke up after 4 hours of sleep, and I was like, why am I awake? I don't know. I just went through my day and did my stuff. It was it was a fairly productive day, but I'm not really sure why I was awake, but I was. I think it was Monday that I woke up at 4, and I didn't know why. Or no, it was Monday. It was Tuesday that I woke up at 4. So that's just a bit odd. Or no, after 4 hours of sleep, I woke up. That didn't usually happen, and I didn't take any of my essential oils to help me put restful sleep or anything like that. I think I just did something. But again, getting up early, back to the point, that is going to make a big difference because you gain time. The most valuable thing we have is time, and we don't know how much we have. So we need to use the time we got to things that we want to do. That's going to be things like getting stuff done, doing work, enjoying time. If you want time to yourself, the morning is the best time to get time to yourself. The morning and after everybody else has gone to bed. But the problem with doing it after everybody else has gone to bed is you probably need to go to bed too. So getting up early actually affords you that time more regularly because most people don't get up as early as super successful people do.
To tip number 5, which is affirmations and visualization. Now, these are two completely different things, but I put them in the same category because they mesh really well. So affirmations are like telling yourself stuff, what you're gonna do today. I will become successful. I will do the dishes. I will make $50 today by selling a product. I will finish the last 60 pages of this book. Those are affirmations. Now, it's important on affirmations not to be negative. Don't go, I'm not going to swear. I'm not going to cut someone off in traffic. I'm not going to quit. Those are not necessarily affirmations. They work, but what you should focus on things you will do, because that's putting positive stuff into the universe, filling your brain with positivity, which is great. And the other part of that was visualization. So when you wake up, you want to have a dream. You want to have, you just got done sleeping, you might have had a dream, but you want like a dream, like something that you can manifest into this world, something that you look forward to. All right, I'm going to build an awesome website. I'm going to create this amazing business. It's okay to stay really optimistic, but you also want to stay a little bit down to earth. As long as you can visualize these things, they will help you set the stones down so that you can walk across and get to your goal.
Okay, affirmations and visualizations are excellent. This is not necessarily a morning routine. I think that this particular recommendation, like you said, this is not something that you want to say, I'm not going to do this. We've talked about that before. We've talked about before on this channel, and I talk about it with my members, that you do not affirm things that are not worth affirming. You affirm the positive. You say what you're going to do, not what you're not going to do. You say what you're going to do. You say what you're planning for. This is what I'm doing, not what I might do. And the closer you get to a single affirmation saying, yes, this is happening, and then pairing that with visualization and seeing it in your mind. How would you visualize that happening? How would you conceptually visualize that happening? The concept and the idea of it taking place. What would that mean? What would it look like? How would it feel? Different things like that.
Number 6 is gratefulness. Now, gratefulness is amazing because there's so many things, so many benefits you get when the first thing you wake up is you're grateful. Now, it's kind of hard if you're like waking up and you're like, I'm so grateful I get to take a cold shower. Maybe you can be grateful about all kinds of other things. You can be grateful you have 10 fingers. Now, you might not have 10 fingers, you might have 8. You can still be grateful that you have 8 fingers. There's all kinds of things you can be grateful for. The fact is that you just need to put your brain in the gratefulness position, because when that happens, there's other chemicals and stuff in your brain that when you start filling your brain with positivity, it'll eventually become a habit, and over time, success will just seem to just mesh with you. When people see you, they think of positivity, and with positivity, people want to work with you and they want to ask you questions, and they might even want to offer you a free product. I know that was a little far-fetched, but you get what I'm saying. Gratefulness is like the foundation of a great day. If you are grateful in the morning, you're going to have a wonderful day. It's going to take a lot to turn a bad day from waking up and going, man, I'm so glad I get to stand up. I'm glad I got toes on my feet and I can see clearly. It's just amazing. Even if I can't see clearly, I'm glad someone invented glasses and contacts that I can put in my eyes and I can still see clearly. Anyways, that's number 6, gratefulness. I'm kind of on a rant.
Number 6, gratefulness. That is another thing that we talk about with the clients, with the members. And yes, it's the idea. Everything you hit there is correct. The hormones secreted, the way it becomes a habit as you do it more, and you have to do it more than being negative, because your body is trained to respond to negativity, or what we perceive as negativity, is trained to respond to threats very quickly so that you can survive. That's its job. That's why it responds very quickly and remembers negative things, but sometimes we'll forget those positive things. So practice remembering instead the positive things, practice thinking positive, and that's going to allow you to make it more of a habit. And people, it does, it changes your mood, it changes the way you present yourself, it changes that the field around you of how you are, and what people see on a subconscious level when they look at you.
Number 7 is to bond with someone early on. Now, human affection is a really important thing, and it's even more important if you're living with someone. If you're living with someone, one of your first morning habits should be to show them affection. Now, this could be cuddling. There's a lot of other things you could do. I'm not going to talk about that because I want to keep this a little PG, but cuddling someone releases a lot of serotonin, and that early in the morning really just boosts you up. It's like, wow, I love someone. I love this person. I love being around this person. I'm so glad this person's in my life. And when you do that, it's a great morning habit to develop because you strengthen that relationship, you build trust. That relationship is just going to grow over time, and it's something that you're going to have to work on every day.
Okay, for this one, this can be a bit tricky for someone who's either single or not married or not involved in a relationship in that way. So what I would say to that is, so let's say that if you're married or you're with someone, you got that significant other, you can use that. That can be a way to start your day off right by showing affection to them. And really, that's a great way to keep a relationship strong. If you don't have that, maybe you're a single parent, be affectionate to your kids first thing in the morning. Wake them up nice and gentle and as best you can, as much as they'll let you and not take advantage of your gentleness. Wake them up as gentle as possible. Give them hugs and kisses as you wake them up, and tell them it's time to get up and ready for the day and stuff like that. And tell them what the plan is for the day. Start reciting to them as they're waking up and moving and getting around. That this can become a habit for them too. They can just start to get up. If you don't have anybody, you can even use a roommate to fill this in some way, to a certain extent, by showing them affection by saying, "Hey man, what's up?" And high five or fist bump or a pat on the back or something as they're starting to come out and get their coffee. or doing something nice for them. Doing something nice for them shows affection. Like you make the coffee that day before they get up, because you're getting up early, right? If you don't have any of that, pets work to a certain extent. So uh, finding and petting, dogs are really good at it. Some cats are. It depends on the cat's attitude. If the cat's a cat that you can kind of get a hold of pretty quick, get up in the morning, you know where they are or where they're probably going to be, then you just pet them and love on them and say, "Oh, good morning, Snowball," or whatever. And I say dogs are really good at it because dogs usually are very much wanting to please you and have affection with you a lot more than cats, but I may be wrong. Because there's birds and there's lizards and whatever type of pet you got. So if you've got a pet, you can use that for the affection in the morning as well.
Number 8 is to clean from the night before. Now, if you're like me, you might have got a lot of work done, especially if you're an entrepreneur. There's a lot of people in the workplace that they might not necessarily need this tip, but if you're an entrepreneur and you're building a business, if you stayed up late last night, even if you didn't stay up late last night, your desk might be a clutter. And it's a lot easier if you clean it up in the morning. And the reason for that is usually when it's later in the day, your decision making process is taxed. It's not the best. And it's easier when you wake up in the morning to go, alright, now I have the discipline and willpower built up in me because I got enough sleep that I can clean my desk. To where at the end of the day, the night before, it would be more difficult. Tip number.
Okay, there is something I would like to say on this. Tidying up is fine. Don't make it a habit to go into a full depth clean right at the start. Simply because you're going to use the time that you could be working on stuff for your work or your job or whatever to clean up from last time, and then you'll just be stuck in this constant thing of cleaning up from last time every morning. So don't make a big habit out of deep cleaning it at all. Deep cleaning it all. I don't think that's what he's trying to say here. But tidying up and then getting on the work. Because it's very easy to let, uh, to let busy work get in the way of real work. Busy work and real work are not the same thing. Busy work is like, oh, I've got to get these papers over here, and then this right here, and then just setting everything perfect. That's not going to help you. That won't make you productive. It'll make you busy, but not productive. You want to be productive. So, because successful people are productive and usually busy. They're not just busy. So that's something to think about.
Number 9 is some silence. Now, silence is important, especially if you are an introvert, because introverts actually get recharged from silence. And for me, waking up at 6 o'clock, I wake up at 6 o'clock usually, and I drink coffee, and then that hour of peacefulness, nobody else is awake. And that coffee is just starting to hit my system. It's this moment of bliss, and I see clearly, and I know what my vision is through the day, and that's how I get a ton of work done. And I think you guys could benefit from that too. Now, it might not work as well on extroverts, but definitely on introverts. This silence in the morning helps a lot. Helps you clear your thinking, helps you understand what you're going to try to get done through the day.
Okay, so um, silence is important, even for extroverts. As someone who works with psychology and stuff like that, you still need silence for sure. It doesn't charge an extrovert in the same way, but as someone who's kind of a blend between an extrovert and an introvert, usually an introvert, that silence is important to me. I usually can get enough as I'm drifting off to sleep, and I pray while I'm trying to drift off to sleep and think about things and talk with him about things, and that can make a difference. Also, yeah, I can get up in the morning and have plenty of time if I need to have some silence. Usually I do my exercises, and that incorporates into my silent time because I can turn things off and not do stuff, not listen to anything. Now, I do like to listen to things and fill my brain while I'm doing my exercises. That doesn't always work, but like I said, if I feel like I need time, using that morning time is excellent, like he said.
Last tip, is kind of out there, but I think you guys will enjoy it, and I think it will benefit a lot of people if they implement it into their morning habit. And it is to read about what happened the night before. So there might have been things happening when you were sleeping. You know, stuff might have happened overseas, something might have happened at work if it's a 24-hour job. The thing is, you kind of want to stay away from things that are irrelevant or negative. Now, there's a lot of like, oh, this suburb, there was 24 people killed that night. That stuff is important, but you don't need it to achieve your goals. You don't need to know that. There's also irrelevant stuff. Like some guy robbed a, well, that's also negative, but I'm trying to think of something that's not negative that is also irrelevant. Like someone might have won a spelling bee. You don't need to check the news for that. You don't need to read about that while you were sleeping, because someone winning this spelling bee, unless it's like your child or your best friend, it's not really going to boost you up in your success. So I'm going to review these because I've...
Okay. Reviewing the news from the night before or something like that. That can be more beneficial for someone who's interested in the news. As far as this comes from someone who doesn't watch the news really, because there's nothing on the news that I can't find if I don't go looking for it. Avoiding negativity on news feeds is very difficult. You have to be tuned into the correct newses, and then you have to filter out the junk that's not applicable. And again, he's talking about things that are applicable to you. So if I would actually edit this a bit and just say read or learn about something briefly that applies to what you do or what you're trying to accomplish that day, and do that in the morning to get yourself thinking in the right mindset of what you're wanting to accomplish. For example, if you want to make YouTube videos, then watch a YouTube video, watch something about making YouTube videos that you haven't watched before, just to get a different viewpoint. If you're wanting to become if you're wanting to get more fit and it's part of your thing to become a physical therapist, watch something about physical therapy that you hadn't watched before, and or read something that you hadn't read before, or look at a news article from one of the publications that go along with what you do. If you're a doctor, then that's a great time to look at a study or something along those lines, because that'll let you get more information about a study or about essential oils or about working on a car. If you're a mechanic, great. Look at a new car that you hadn't looked at before and read about its, read or watch or do engage in something where you're looking and engaging about the information that's being presented that applies to you. If it doesn't apply to you, why are you worrying about it, especially that early in the morning?
Been requested before, and I want to see if you guys enjoy this little review, and especially if you enjoy this whole video, please leave a comment below and click the like button. So number 1 is to make a to-do list in the morning. Number 2 is to take a cold shower, or at least something that energizes you. Tip number 3 goes along with number 1. It's to schedule your day, which is adding time slots to the to-do list. Tip number 4 is wake up early. Tip number 5 is affirmations and visualizations. Tip number 6 is gratefulness for everything. Tip number 7 is to bond with someone early. If you don't live with someone, you can always go out and say, hey, would you like some coffee with me? Or hey, would you like to play this video game with me? Or hey, could you just spend some time with me on a nature walk or something? That time is really important, and it will strengthen your relationship definitely over time. That was number 7. Number 8 is to clean everything up from the night before. So you might need to do laundry too. Number 9 is silence. And number 10 is read about what happened last night. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, click the like button and subscribe for more.
Alright, so that's the whole video. I think this goes into a spiel or something. So that's the video, and I found it to be pretty good. I liked this video. I did make some comments about a few things, but overall a good video, very good video. Employing those different things will definitely allow you to have an edge on the competition, as it were. However, that's everything for this particular episode of the State of the Association Address. hopefully you will be able to come around and get to see some more of our videos. You can find them on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We have all those things going on. We have our own webpage at the EdenWellnessAlliance.com or EdenWellnessAlliance.com. And all of those places are great places to find what you just watched today. So hopefully you've enjoyed. As always, have a great. I am Adam L. Spain with the Eden Wellness Alliance, health and wellness the way God intended, all natural, non-invasive approaches to your health, wealth, and relationships. And as always, have a great day. God bless and enjoy. Bye.